Everybody. I don't know what Joseph was hoping I would talk about today, so I decided to talk about hope. As you know, we live in a time of great uncertainty along a lot of dimensions right now. And I see people getting discouraged, even come across people telling me they're a little hopeless about how to move forward in their lives or in their businesses. When's this pandemic going to end? When's politics going to change? What about the global climate crisis? Well, hope is really important in life. It's properly not to be confused with a delusion or wishful thinking. Any healthy form of hope can act like a virtue or strength from the Latin virtu in our lives, like courage or honesty, a strength we can bring to our circumstances. Maybe it's something like a second order virtue. If you have good first order virtues like compassion and love and elevation of the spirit, hope can be like a virtue in that classic sense, but in even a stronger form, it can be what military folks call a force multiplier for your other strengths. So our first point is this: proper hope is a power, a personal strength to bring to any challenge or into circumstances of uncertainty. Now, we're not talking about irrational expectation or weak belief or any kind of self-deception. Virtuous hope isn't the result of any of this or any kind of weakness. It's aligned with that faith beyond sight that has guided the great explorers in the arts and sciences and philosophy throughout the centuries, as well as in business for a very long time. Proper hope is a cousin of realistic optimism, which can be learned and developed. I have in mind Martin Seligman's great book, Learned Optimism. So point two, hope is akin to faith and optimism. Now recall for a second the story of Pandora, who was presented with a gift box she wasn't supposed to open. What sense does that make? In the original Greek, though, the term is better translated as big jar, perhaps ornamental with a top that shouldn't be removed, just viewed and enjoyed. But Pandora had the quality of curiosity, another strength used properly. So she was not good at following instructions like many of us. She opened the jar, and as you know, most of the evils now in the world came flying out, dispersed everywhere. What an experience that must have been, much like the past year and a half for a lot of us. But the jar was not empty. Pandora's curiosity made her look again. There was one thing left at the bottom, something that stuck. You may remember that it was hope. She had this as what I think was the real gift to help her deal with everything else. One more quick point. In the book, If Aristotle Ran General Motors years ago, I suggested there are two keys to leadership greatness that we almost never find balanced in people's lives: humility and nobility. I mention this now because hope is one of those rare places where these two things meet. Yes, when you have proper hope, it's because you have the humility to admit you don't actually know how things are going to turn out. And you also have a nobility of mind to maintain an expectation and commitment for something good, in whatever form it may come. Hopelessness, by contrast, typically arises out of thinking we know more than we do. It's a result of intellectual arrogance. The biggest things that ever happen, as the book Black Swan taught us, we typically don't see coming. So we should hope for the best and work for the best. Point three, hope is where humility and nobility meet. And I guess point four, to be helpful, hope has to be remembered and used moving forward. By now, you may hope I'm almost done, and I am. But one last and fifth point: hope best arises and grows strong in partnership with other people, not as a solitary matter. We give each other hope. And in particular, creative partnerships spark hope. They provide it with deep roots and healthy growth. You may have heard the story about the two college students who met and fell in love. She was in veterinary medicine, much like our beloved James Herriot on TV right now, and he was studying zoology to become a taxidermist. They got married and wanted to go into business together, oddly enough. So they hung out a sign with their newly shared name and a catchy slogan. It said, "Robert's Veterinary and Taxidermy. Either way, you get your dog back." A creative partnership indeed, and a source of hope for us all. Stuffed as we are now with philosophical ideas, may we all go forth in hope. See you later.